Hello everybody, how you doing? Great, my name is Stan and today I have my brother, Pastor Xavier, and today he is definitely back on the same program. He's going to be talking to us about the Joshua generation. You see, he's one young man who's pretty much excited about touching young lives and revolutionizing young lives. If you've watched our previous video, you definitely know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to check it out because you definitely get more detail that way. So today, welcome again, Pastor Xavier.
Thank you
Welcome.
so much, Pastor Stein.
Yeah.
It's a privilege, it's an honor to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
So yeah, maybe you could. I know last year when we spoke, you were telling me about these wonderful things. You spoke about the Philippines. You traveled to the Philippines, and
Yes.
and you mentioned so many different things, and also you spoke about the projects that you've been working on over a very long period of time. You talked about the solar project and all these wonderful things,
Yes.
and they're all mainly focused on touching the young life.
Yes.
So maybe you could shed more light on what's going on or what has happened and what's in the pipeline.
Last year we spoke about the vision
Yeah.
of the Joshua generation, what it is and its background. And I did share with you that it's a vision that started with me as an individual. And I did work with a few youths from 12 other churches to form what we now call the Joshua Generation Trust Fund. The vision grew from humble beginnings to where it is now. We have done quite a lot. We did our solar streetlights project in Masvingo. We are working with a number of companies, Econet as brand ambassadors, Kwese TV. We are working with Lafarge Cement. We are working with quite a number of companies within Zimbabwe. But we have now reached a point where we're saying we must break out, and we have already begun to break out of Zimbabwe using the same model of humble beginnings that we experienced in Zimbabwe, and we are now blowing it out onto Africa's 57 African countries.
Wow, that sounds really big. That sounds really, really big.
Yes.
You're breaking out into the continent.
We
Wow, and how's been the reception so far? As you are breaking out into the region, do you have like specific countries that you've already been to, and what has been the reaction and the response from the people?
The reception has been quite well received. Using the network that we already have, we have reached out to about over 15 African nations.
15 African nations.
Out of the 57.
Wow.
So we are literally seeing that the Lord is giving us 15 nations in every month.
Wow.
And the strategy is very simple. Reach out to one person in that African country and you reach out to the 12,000, the testimony that we have in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So we believe in what we call individual reach out. We believe in reaching out to a person, one person at a time, because we have seen what God has done with just an individual in Zimbabwe, and now we've got a proud membership of over 12,000 members, only from one person that decided to be a Joshua of his generation. So we have reached to 15 nations in Africa, Nigeria, talk of Cameroon, talk of Togo, talk of Botswana, talk of Tanzania, talk of Ghana. We have reached to these nations, and they are now, we are using our 7-member committee model or a 7-member consortium model, where each country is run by a national committee of 7 people. Then it breaks down to other national committees, provincial committees in each province. Then we break it down to district level, to constituency level, to ward level, and then until we get to cell level. Yes. So we have seen this model work, and it's working in Africa's 15 nations.
Wow, that's amazing. You see, from just listening to you right now, this is what people do when they're beginning.
Yes.
They reach out.
They reach out.
But there's a time that's going to come
Yeah.
where you probably will be overwhelmed. Like
Yes.
you won't even have the capacity and the ability to reach out.
Yes.
What I'm simply saying is there could be someone who's watching this video,
Yeah.
is in some country that you haven't reached yet.
Yeah.
Right? And this particular person actually wanted this thing happening in their country.
Yes.
Because I mean, think about the privileges and the opportunities that it provides, especially for the young generation.
Yes.
The opportunities that it creates for the young people, and how it channels and changes the life of individuals. I'm sure no one would sit back and say, "Oh, let's just wait till they come to our country." Do you have anything? Like let's say somebody hits you on Instagram, somebody hits you on Twitter, somebody hits you on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like somebody just goes into your inbox.
Yeah.
What's your?
Our reaction is join our structures. Which country are you based? We be part of your national structure. If your national structure is full, be part of your provincial structure. So we are at a point where we are still looking for people. We're at a point where we can never say we are full. Our membership is full. We are looking for people, and we will place you in the area that you are. And talk about the opportunities. Imagine an African youth movement with its members in each and every African member state, from provincial to cell level. Imagine the value that it unlocks. You realize that we are working with a lot of network marketing companies that are looking to enter into the African market. This is the only feasible way that you can enter into the African market. If you have a youth organization that is present in each and every African country. So we are building our structures not for fun. We are building these structures to launch companies into the African market. We are building these structures to also tap into the capital resources that the African Union is offering to the youth. The African Union is looking for an organized youth movement that is not just present in its own African corner, but in every African country. So there are opportunities that are waiting for us as long as we are organized. I'm reminded of God when he was taking the children of Israel into the promised land. The first thing he did is they had to be the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers talks about an organizational structure of the nation called Israel before it enters the promised land. So the thing that God told Moses, number your people according to their tribes, according to their strengths, according to their fathers, according to their household. Number them, because I cannot take you into the promised land until you're organized. So the Joshua generation was that generation which had now organized itself up to from the captains of 1,000 to a captains of 10 or captains of 50s. So we are saying, let's have a youth organization that is neatly represented on the African continent and take care of the opportunities that Africa has to provide, and take care of the opportunities that the world has to provide. For example, we are a distributor of Alliance Global Initiative, which is a health project which sells health products into Africa. And we are using our membership as its distribution and agents network. Okay? Yeah. So we are not building these structures for fun. We are building these structures so as to be the first port of call of any serious company that wants to launch its products on the African market.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm just listening to you right now, and as I'm listening to you, I'm going to ask you a question, which obviously was not pre-planned. Yes. So you're going to have to bear with me. This is mainly on, you see, when you were speaking, I heard a lot about opportunities, yes. Creating opportunities. Yes. And obviously this affects the young man and the young woman in the community, yes. In the African society, which is wonderful. But now let's speak about the company you're creating, the company which is coming with the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Like for instance, one of the deadliest things in our society is that a lot of people don't really have much of a character.
Right.
Right. What do you guarantee, the person who's bringing in the business, okay. That the people that I'm going to give you are going to be people of character. You know what I mean? That these are people that will be able to actually take care of your business. Like these are people of integrity. You know what I mean? Yes. People that have a value system. People that can be relied upon, because everybody wants an opportunity. But yes. The question is, are they trustworthy? Are they people of integrity? Yes.
Yeah, that's why we call ourselves the Joshua generation. Mm-hmm. It's not just a term; it's actually a character that we're trying to build in our youths. Before, as they are members, there's a certain character that we're instilling in them, which is a takeover character, which is a character which survives in the promised land, which is a character which has survived in the wilderness. So we are bringing opportunities to youths that we have interacted with, that we have fostered in a certain character. who are also able to represent these institutions as distributors, agents, and just sales personnel. But there's also a risk factor to it. Yes, you're right. But as an agent, what simply means is you are representing a company or whose products you have already bought. So the risk now lies with you, not with the company. The company has had its own share. The products have been bought. It's up to you to distribute the product to the end user, and you have to have a character that sells what you have bought. So the companies and the partners, they're always protected because there's no movement of goods before the movement of money.
Okay.
So there will be such a time, but it's after the youth they've proved themselves to be worthy.
Okay. Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So maybe in closing, you can just give us just a brief description on because obviously there could be somebody out there who is maybe a partner who wants to partner, who says, oh, I love this wonderful initiative, young people coming together, because a lot of people complain about the millennials, they say, oh, millennials are lazy people, or millennials, they just want stuff to be on their tables, like nobody wants to work for anything, like millennials just don't want to work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what can you say, that will sort of also empower in closing, the partners to say, no, millennials are willing to work. African millennials are willing to work. We can't speak for all millennials. Let's say African millennials are willing to work, and at the same time, what can you also then say to the young people, like you just packaging it all together, for the young people, for the millennials and for the partners.
Yeah, first and foremost, let me just address the African youth out there to say, get on board, partner with the Joshua generation. You have to partner with other people, be part of some sort of congregation, be part of some sort of movement which will obviously avail opportunities to your life. So to the African youth, be part of our structures. It's either you're a chairperson, vice chairperson, treasurer, secretary, vice treasurer, vice secretary, or a committee member of some consortium at provincial level, at national level, at constituency level, at district level, at ward level, at branch level, even at cell level. So we cannot never run out of positions. Our full structure is quite a big structure. For your information, we are rallying towards attaining our membership of 50,000 youths within our Joshua Generation Network. Wow. We've slightly gone above 12,000. We are pushing for 50,000 because that would mean each and every African state is well represented at all those structure levels that I've just mentioned. So be part of this movement. You don't lose anything. We've got free membership status. You don't need to pay money to be part of the Joshua Generation. Secondly, now I appeal to the partners, who we call sponsors or affiliates, or people that would want to ride upon this well-organized network of youths in Africa. Be part of us also. Use us as your distribution network. We are accredited with the African Union. We are soon also submitting our document to the United Nations so that we are accredited as people that you can trust and work with. And we are not just fly-by-night members. We are members that are well recognized within governmental institutions in our individual countries as well as at African Union level. So you are guaranteed that you have got a better distribution network of people that have been appraised, people that have been looked at to be seen to have a good character, and people that were constantly working on to have a much better character. So working with the Joshua generation is working with a generation that will take you to the other side, that will cause you to cross the Jordan River of your markets in Africa. You cannot just come into Africa without going through the Africans themselves. Work with the African child and to access African markets. So we are guaranteeing you that we are a worthy partner, a much prosperous partner to partner with.
Okay, that's wonderful. I remember saying that these were going to be your closing words, but I am tempted just to ask, what have you got lined up for the next 3 months, the first quarter of this year?
The first 3 months are entirely, especially in my office, dedicated to ensuring that we've got all our 57 African nations represented within our organizational structure, the leadership structure of our organization. And we seem to be attracting 15 states at a go every month. So within 3 months, we would have fully exhausted our African membership at national level. And I'm happy to say in areas such as Togo, in areas such as Cameroon, we are already pushing now into provincial structures towards district structures. So our model grows by itself. By the way, it's a modern evangelical way of preaching about Jesus, but at the same time also making sure that we take care of our earthly business and making money. Empowering our youths so that they may be empowered and have something to testify and bring to our Lord Jesus Christ in the day of our Lord. So we are basically saying, partner with us, the Joshua generation. This is the only, the first movement of its kind in Africa, and it has come at such a time as this, where Africa needed to be this one continent, one country, one passport, one people, no borders, no limits in Africa.
Wow. The only organization without limits, no borders, no boundaries.
Yes.
You've heard it all right here, and I'm sure your life will definitely never be the same. Make it a point, if you're a young man and you're African, yes, you might be white, you still are African. You might be colored, you still are African. See, because some people say, oh, I'm a white guy, but you're born in Africa, you're African.
Yes.
So make a date with us. Join this wonderful organization and definitely become the change that you need.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.